Yeah, yeah.
So let us start with the just a simple question. So can you introduce yourself first of all?
Yeah. So, myself, Gyan Upadhyay, like, I have completed like my graduation, graduation from here from India, from BTech CSC background, from a university called Shri Mata Vaishno Devi University, Jammu and Kashmir, and I started learning Flutter in 2022. Then practice from YouTube, mostly from YouTube, and after that I joined a startup like in around 2023 February. um, yeah, then worked on some a real kind of uh, scenarios, and currently I am at have like around 10 months of experience like in Flutter of working on real projects like app, these things.
Okay, cool. So you have around 10 months experience with the Flutter, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what kind of the apps that you have currently built using the Flutter?
So what kind of app can you like
Like kind of apps like what, like is it uh, like a banking application, or is it like a social networking apps, or is it a e-commerce app? So what kind of the apps that you have currently built?
Okay, okay, okay. So it's like close to like social networking app. So it's close to like social networking app. For example, the name of the app is Party End for currently which I am working. So basically, it's an app which list parties which are happening in Goa.
Oh,
So basically, they are when anybody comes to Goa, they mostly their question is like, where is the party? So there was no good platform which were catering that problem. So we have catered that problem. Like we are so we become a we make the app, and we are like the marketing platform between the venues which have like music events, parties, these kind of things, and between the users. So we basically list like all the parties. Listing of parties is done, and users can create their own events. Also, organizers create their own events. So, and if there is any brands also create their own brand. So this basically it's a platform to cater the music events market, and
mm,
also because it's a very big question here, Goa, because it's like party capital of India. So basically, we are solving that problem. So
okay, that's cool.
yeah.
So how many member in your Flutter team?
Currently, like there are, I guess, four members in the team.
Four members in your team. So
Yeah.
what you basically do in your as a Flutter developer?
So basically, I work on the like UI part and the functionality one, because it's a startup, not a very big team. So yeah, both I work on the UI and like some of the features.
Cool. So what kind of the project management the tools, do you use Jira or some other kind of any
So
tools?
we use ClickUp
Click
for
up.
the management of the tickets
I see. So
and sprints. Like yeah.
so does it follow like a Kanban style, or the agile style, or the waterfall?
It's I guess agile.
Agile, huh?
It follow agile like iterative approach.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. And have you ever written any test cases on the Flutter?
Not yet. We have not written the test cases yet, but like we have a plan to do it, but not yet. I haven't
Okay,
written
cool.
it yet. Yeah.
That's good. So, so you have been working 10 months. So, what do you think about the Flutter? Or what kind of the solution or problem it can solve for the organization, or the companies?
So basically, uh, basically after working with I understand like it is a very easy like good to go for like the user interface, plus it is very good for like startups to start their like experiments, because initially they are on the idea stage, so they have to showcase their like product to the like investors. So it is very good for, because they don't have to manage two teams for like iOS and Android. So you only write like once a code, and it is like working on like both platforms. So from business point of view, also, and like cost effective is, this is very cost effective also, plus the ecosystem is like now very great. If you see, like they are solving the issues like on daily basis. We are getting like releases, like stable releases of Flutter. So yeah, so first is like the it is very good for startup system. Second, it is fast also, like compared to like other frameworks, I feel, like React Native, and also stable also. And it is solving like the money problem, like for startups. Like for initially they have to maintain like both Android and iOS. So now they now they don't have to do like that thing. uh, so yeah, these are the things. And also like it has good feature like hot restart, and so we can easily like see the changes. uh, so these are the
Cool.
things like I mostly feel is very good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Just now you mentioned that
Yeah.
you basically mentioned the usefulness of the Flutter, right? From according to your experience, what do you think? Like, what are the drawbacks or the limitation that we get from the Flutter? Yeah,
Drawbacks.
or the limitation. What do you think from the if you are if a team or a company is using a Flutter?
Yeah, sometimes like because it's still in the like growing stage. So sometimes what I feel like, because when I started, like there was not, I guess, uh, that much good tutorials or like resources at that time that go like very deep in it. Like I found one or two articles. One name is like Flutter Didier Boilens. That guy, he written like very deep articles, which gives a very in-depth knowledge of the like framework. So I feel like that that one part is missing. But currently I found like your mobile academy like website, and then I thought like that is the best resource for me. If I get like around like 1 year ago or something, like I'll be more better than that. So one thing that I was like uh, uh, was a problem of like tutorials. So for me,
Cool.
that was the, I don't think whether it is a limitation or not, but I thought key, and that was one. And the second was like sometimes they make changes, so they make like huge changes, so it like breaks the maintenance of the apps, like. So the second was that, and the third was like it's sometimes we have to build like the whole thing, because it got deprecated or it is not there, because it's a new thing. So for the native, we have to build the whole thing by itself.
Cool.
So that is the mostly the limitation. Otherwise it is like very good. Many production, big production, in production also, it is like many big companies are also using it. So
Cool.
yeah, but they had a good team, so they manage the native. They have built their native things also by themselves. So
Cool.
yeah, I hope so. Like these will be now. I think first and second are now getting cleared. Why? Because personally, I say like the course you have made, like it's very awesome. It can't be. I think that much effort can't be given by like any other people. Like it's very in depth. We can see like just by seeing the structure.
Cool. Thank you.
Like, so I
Um,
hope these, if these kind of courses and all these things will be there, so we can cater like other. we can see like how to build other things if there are some limitations also, because we need like clear concept how things are going. And like event loop, these are the things like I have seen like in your course only. I haven't seen like on YouTube like someone is telling about what is event loop, how it is coming, because in JavaScript I easily found that someone is telling event loop is happening this and this is the call stack and these things are going on. So yeah, because sometimes what happened, we don't know the concept, so we tell that as a limitation also.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So you just mentioned about the React Native. Have you ever worked with the React Native before?
No, I didn't work with like React Native, but like I've just study like what are the issues there. Like sometimes,
Okay.
so but I haven't worked with yet because I work with like JavaScript, and then it is like very kind of like Dart and JavaScript like kind of similar in some of the parts. So
Yeah.
I after like, because there are some good resources for JavaScript, so I learned that. Then I see Dart also, so that becomes like very a little bit easy for me.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. The next thing is, I think if you haven't used React Native, that's cool. It's quite similar if we see the things. Um, but let's talk about the widget in the Flutter. Can you, according to your experience and your knowledge, what do you think about the stateless and then the stateful widget?
Like I didn't understand. Like think.
What do you think? What are the differences, or you can explain like when to use the
Okay.
stateful and like when to use a stateless, this kind of stuff.
Okay, okay, got it. So stateless is basically used most of the time when we don't have to manage any state kind of thing. State like data with some, for example, um, we are changing something, and because of that change, uh, it's reflecting on the UI, like it's pure data. Like we have some kind of hard coded also, or it is just like one time data. We gets it, and the rebuild occurs. So for stateful, like we have to manage some states. Like for we are managing the state of an animation controllers, or there we have any list of data that we are managing. So basically, stateful is used when we have to manage some kind of a state in that, because the name itself implies a stateful. So
Cool.
that is what it is.
Cool.
So this is basically used when we don't have to manage any state, and stateful is used when we have to manage some kind of state mostly uh,
Okay,
of the widget.
that's
Yeah.
cool. So both of the stateless and the stateful widget has the build method, right? We need to override it. So can you explain about the build method? Why we need to override, or what does it actually does?
What it actually does.
Yeah, what is the build method in both of the stateful and then the stateless widget?
So basically, build build method is like it kinds of like trigger the rebuild of the like rebuild of the widgets that we defined in like inside it. So it's like a method like which kind of like returns the widget like the what we defined inside it. Uh,
Yeah, so
build method.
basically it returns the widget, right? So
Yeah,
it returns the what you call
widget.
as a widget or the elements that we define.
Yeah, yeah.
And basically we said that stateless is a immutable, right? So
Yeah, stateless and stateful both are like immutable objects.
so what does the immutable actually mean here?
So immutable means according to me, what is something which don't change. It can be like it can be replaced with the same thing, but it don't change. For example, there are two objects, user one or and user two. In user one. Uh, all the fields are final, so it will not change. But we can create a new object from it, like for from that, like using any copy with method or something. So it's like that immutable, that can't change. Immutable is something that which don't change. It can be replaced with the same thing, but it will not change.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's cool. So in the stateful widget, we have the set state, right? Stateful
Yeah,
widget has.
satisfied.
So can you explain what does actually the set state does?
So set state basically triggers the rebuild of the UI. There is something called marks. Inside set state, something called a mark needs rebuild, I guess.
Yeah.
Not currently remember.
Yeah.
So it triggers like that method. So because of that, the whole elementary started like saying what are the dirty things, and basically after that trigger, like it rebuilds the whole UI. Statistic like basically trigger the rebuild of the UI
Yeah.
where it is called.
Yeah, that's cool. So basically, it's marks the widget to be dirty, and then schedules it to be rebuilt in the next frame, right?
Three. And
That's cool. And another thing about the like, let's say if you have a login form, right? And
yeah,
we basically use the form there, right? And in the
mm,
form, we have to pass in the key, right?
yeah, form key.
So
Yeah,
we basically use a global key there to pass as a form key. So
yeah,
why we use a global key in the form? Do you have any idea why we use a global? Because there is a different kind of the keys in the Flutter, right? But in the form, we always use a global key, right? And do you have any idea why we actually use a global key there?
yeah. So basically, we use key to identify identify, because there are many text form field, so to identify the text form field with its key, because otherwise what happen like um, what happens inside, I guess, like they without using the key they are not able to differentiate sometimes. So that's why you use key to uniquely identify. Key is the thing to uniquely identify something. Because someday I was reading something like about this keys, and I found out like two state there are two objects, but they are not uniquely identified like by their states. So the Flutter framework itself got confused. So
Okay.
in that case we use a key to identify like both.
Okay, cool. So that's they think that we use a key to identify or to manage the states, right? But
Yeah,
regarding the global key that we use in the form or anywhere that we use a global key, the main point here in the form is that you need to access the state of the form, right? Because you need to
yeah, yeah,
validate
yeah. We
the
can.
form
Yeah,
based on the global key. Only has the option to access the state, and
yeah,
rest
yeah.
of the keys, like you have the value key, you have the I think the object key, right? So they don't
Yeah.
have an option where you can access
Straight.
the state. So that's the main point of the using a global key in the form. And the point that you
So
have
it's like,
mentioned is also correct, because we need to identify a widget or uniqueness of the widget, right?
yeah,
And let's move to the next question here. Have you ever used about the inherited widget?
yeah. Inherited with it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
can you explain what is actually the inherited widget or how it works?
So yeah, yeah. So basically, what happens with such state, like uh, it rebuilds the whole UI. In case like such state rebuilds the whole UI, and sometimes what we need. So if there is a visit, like there are, for example, let's say ABC, there are three visits ABC, and both A and C wants the state, want to access the state of the visit B. So if normally what we do, we pass dependencies through constructor injection.
Yeah.
But if they are like so if they are but if they are like many widgets which want the same state like B, so we have to pass it multiple times. So we have a widget like inherited widget which can maintain that state of B, and we can easily provide it to the like descendants. So and we don't have to pass it like again and again. So basically, inherited widget is something like which maintains a common state type of thing, which can be like easily provided to the descendants, descendant widgets
Yeah,
uh,
that's
of the
cool.
tree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. You can manage the you can access the state that your parents wicket is holding, right? You can easily hold. Otherwise, you have to pass down the data or the information back to the your child wickets.
Yeah.
That's cool. And next thing is like have you ever had a time to like understand the tree that we call in the Flutter, right? We have the widget tree, we have the element tree, right? Basically, what knowledge you have about these trees? Like
Uh,
render tree or render object tree or and then we have the element tree and then we have the wicket tree, right?
Yeah, okay, okay, sure. So basically, there are three trees in Flutter. So widget tree is just a name we use, but widget tree is nothing. It's just a configuration. Widget tree is nothing. It's just a configuration. Like there is some kind of text, and it is an immutable configuration. Basically, elementary maintain. So there is a widget tree, then comes elementary, then comes render tree. The render tree is the basically the tree which actually renders the things like text, um, and like painting or like all these works are done by the render tree. Elementary basically just maintains the the linking part, like the context we use. So basically it like glue both the things. So for let's say example, for example, let's say there is a text widget, and elementary is there, then render tree. So basically there would be some kind of render box. Sorry, for text we have rich text which maintains the the linking part, and through which like we see whether the change has happened or what we have to render. So basically elementary is something like which is used for like getting the location or where the widget is. Render tree is basically used like to render that thing.
Yeah, render it to the UI, right? So it's the
Yeah,
graphical part. Send it to
yeah,
the graphic to the graphic engine to render it to the UI.
yeah, yeah.
That's cool. And do you have any idea or the knowledge like how actually that Flutter decides whether that part of the widget is updated with the new configuration or whether it to actually rebuild and redisplay it and create a new a widget out of it, or just to provide the same previous the widget that it holds. So do you know like do you have any idea like how actually it is going to decide it?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, as I previously said, like there is a whenever the state of the widget changes, a method is triggered. Mark element, like from the element point of view, I'm talking the elements dot mark needs rebuild, I guess.
Yeah.
Build, I guess. So the widget which has changed, it see like the whole widget has changed, or like it compare with it's like key and other
type
parameters. For example, if let's say
type
if it is a
type of
huh?
the object, right?
Yeah,
Type of the
yeah,
object and the key, right?
So yeah. So in that case, it sees whether I need to replace the whole widget, or if they are same, we just have to change something. We don't have to replace the whole widget, because sometimes the whole widget is not replaced. If the runtime type are same, the whole widget are not replaced. Just the thing which has changed, only that replaced. And if the whole widget is changed, like their runtimes and one parameter is more, both has changed, then they replace, because widget is an immutable configuration, so we can't change that. We don't change widget. So in that case, we have to replace that widget with the other text widget.
Yeah, that's cool. So that because of this all kind of the logic and algorithm they use, the Flutter is much faster, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's built-in feature that we get from the Flutter. That's cool. And let's talk about the widget, right? So in the week, once you create the widget, we have to pass in the key, right? So there is an option to be passed in the key,
Yeah.
and that key can be null, right? So sometimes we
Yeah.
pass in, but sometimes we don't pass in. Most of the time we don't really care about passing in
Mhm.
the key. So
Yeah.
what scenario do you think that we pass in the key to that particular widget?
So some scenarios are like, suppose we have some. So let's say there are like multiple text form fields. So if there are multiple text form field, and like we are changing the focus, uh, we are managing like there is some icon. So on clicking that, on tapping, the the color of the icon change from like gray to white or something, and there are multiple. So if we manage the state like, with a single inherited result, let's say, or with any state management. So what happens when we click on one, uh, it changed the like icon color of like, if we have 3 to 4 fields all, because it not correctly identifies it. So in that case, like we pass a key, so that like it differentiate like the text fields from each other. And
Cool.
in one more case, like suppose we have some list also. So sometimes, like I have just read, not sure what that, but they we are deleting something. In that list. It like sometimes it gets jumbled, so we have to currently identify like the order for like in maybe we are, if we have to do some kind of reshuffling or that. So it like, mm, it get Flutter itself like internally get confused. So in that case also, like we have to pass unique key, so that like all the list elements are itself like it differentiated with each other. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Um, so like if you have let's say home page, right? Or the home screen, and in that home screen you add another, let's say you add the banner, right? Let's say a home banner, that is another widget, right? It's a separate class, a stateless widget. And in the home screen is stateful. And once we set the state there, right? Let's say you trigger a set state with the button click or something, like you set. And in that you have a home banner where you have previously passed in the home banner widget, you pass in the key, right? And in the we get rebuild on the set state, you triggered it will trigger we get rebuild again, right, in the home screen. And suppose the that changes the key, right? If that changes the key
Yeah.
of the if you pass in the new key to the, let's say, a home banner on the constructor, um, what do you think? And it is going to create trigger a build method in the let's say a home banner, or is it just going to reuse the previous widget?
So I think maybe something.
Did you understand the question?
So yeah, I guess I understand. Like you are asking the key got changed.
Yeah.
Like
So if you pass, if you once you rebuild the parent widget, and you pass in the parent widget, you rebuild the widget, and then that changes the new key, or the constructor key that you pass into the child widget. If it's going to change, does it call the rebuild function in the child widget, or it's not going to, or it's going to skip that rebuild method?
basically, I guess it will call the method, but maybe Flutter will not be able to identify. It will do some like awkward or random thing. So
Yeah, I think it will call the build method, because you change the key, right? So uh, key, once just now you mentioned that in the elementary it tracks the right, in the, and then the render object tracks whether there is a certain thing changes, like whether it's a key changes, or the type of the widget changes. So here
yeah,
we change the key, and once the key is changed, then it will again set it to be marked as to rebuild, or set it to as a dirty element. Then it has to call the build method. But even if you set the set state in your parent widget here, but you don't change the key for your child widget, so Flutter is just going to reuse that, and it's not going to call the build method again on the child widget, because it's the same key with the same type, right? And no data has been changed on that particular configuration, so it's going to reuse that without going to call the rebuild method in the child, right? So this is the how the Flutter improves the internally the performance. So that's why the Flutter developer that don't have to like put all the efforts to maintain or have the better performance app.
yeah, yeah.
So that's cool. Okay, so let's say about the um, so how much of experience do you have with the native, like iOS and then the Android?
Oh, I don't have experience like with native, but like um I learned some of the like for like Android and iOS part, like some because of like the what is manifest file and manifest gradle. So I just like learn about these things because we have to make changes in that. So but I didn't work with like the native
Okay,
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
So in the Flutter, you also can call the method, or the functions in the native directly, right? So what feature in the Flutter do you think we are going to use? Like if you want to call some functions from the native side, do you have any idea?
So I guess like for that, platform channels are used to like call the if you want to call some native part of the native part thing.
Cool.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I didn't know like how to do that, but like I know like how it is like called like platform channels. I have to learn this.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
So just now you mentioned of the manifest file in the Android, right? So
yeah,
what do you think about it? Or can you explain it?
yeah. Basically manifest file like it's kind of a, like the center thing. It has to like know what we have to run as soon as the app starts, and uh, what are the different things like we have defined like for the theme and which activity should run first, like whether we have to show the splash screen first or like before that we want to run any activity. So basically it's kind of a center which know like all the things of like from style to color and all, like which part of the activity we should run, and or like all that kind of thing like
Okay, cool. Okay. So so if you want to set a permission, so we are going
yeah,
to use that one too, right? And
yeah,
about the in the iOS, we have the similar thing, right? So we have the plist info, right?
yeah, info.plist, yeah.
Yeah. So we do the same thing, right? So defining the permission, adding the all of the configuration to all of it. That's good. So and let's next will be about the in the production app. Like let's say we are building a production app, right? And we are going to set up the different kind of the environment, like in the real once you are in the production app, once you are performing the project, we have a development team, we have the QA team, right? And then we have the management team, or the stakeholder that's going to manage that particular, or have the overall permission of how the app should be doing, and what are the functions, features that we are going to implement. So they are basically, we have let's say a three kind of the environment.
Yeah.
um, Dev have his own environment, QA need to test its in own environment, and then the rest of the management team, or the, let's say, your stakeholder have to test the app. um, we can't use the same server configuration, right? We have to have a different server for each of them, because for them, um, we just need it for development, and we change the things regularly, and we tweak the thing regularly. So that should be for just for the development purpose, right? Not for the QA to test their actual like the tickets, and then the and for the management or the stakeholder, they have to test something in the real environment, right? So in the Flutter, how do you think that we can configure all of this in the Flutter app?
Yeah, definitely. Um, Actually, we are using like that kind of thing, like in our like a startup. Like for the we have like three flavors, like development, then staging, and then production. So all the kind and development we are using different database. For production we are using different database, because we can't like juggle both the database. Otherwise, like the data will be
Yeah,
it will create problem. So yeah, we are like using like
flavors, right?
yeah.
So do you have any idea about the
Yeah.
flavor? What is a flavor, and how do we use it in the Android and then the iOS? Do you
Yeah,
have any
so
idea, or have you ever configured it, or do you have ever used it?
I used it, but I didn't configure it, because there is a company called like Very Good Ventures. So if you use like their they have some commands, so which like auto generate like the environment, like staging, development, and production. Uh, we just have to make some changes, but like it will most of the changes it can like configure like in your project setup.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, so in Android, like you get the like then uh, prod prod environment, main and dev. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So basically, it's the flavor is mostly the part of the Android. It has the built-in feature for the flavors, so you can actually configure multiple flavors in the Android. But in iOS, you don't have a built-in feature that you can actually use it. Like a flavor is not there, so you have to actually configure the schema, and with that schema you can configure different kind of the something like a flavors that we maintain in the native Android. So it's quite different in the iOS, and in the iOS Android it's quite different, because Android by default it supports the flavors, and with these flavors we can configure this kind of the production, dev, and QA on kind of the information. That's cool. You got some idea on it. That's pretty good. And next thing is like, let's say you have a requirement to integrate a payment, right? And a payment gateway, let's say Stripe, which is most popular and the common, right? Let's say you have to integrate a Stripe to your app where the user can make a payment, and that provides you with the key, right? So Stripes comes with the key that you have to set it to your app, right? It's not that it's not that a private key, but it still can be exposed, right? The main key is stored in the privately in the server side, but in the client side you still need to store a key. And let's say you have to be you are building a app that is related to the like a banking application, right? So where you need a lot of the securities and right, they have the pen test, and they are going to do all the security test for your application. In the Flutter, like how you are going to store that particular key so that you minimize the risks of exposing that particular key. Do you
So
have any knowledge or idea about it?
yeah. So basically, what we can do, there is a package called like dot in env file also, like where we can store like these kind of like environment variables or like constant things. So one is that, and second we can use like Google Secret Manager also, like for storing like important API keys. So basically, and so basically when we build the thing, we can provide like that thing uh, to access to get access them. Basically we use like these things to like to minimize the risk, because we can't define it in the file and push it to the otherwise it will be exposed. So yeah, basically we use like these two things to like to uh, manage like the keys, so that we don't have to like directly expose it.
Okay, good. And when it comes to the security, let's say how you are going to protect, like if you are releasing the let's say a secure app or the banking app, right? Let's say how you are going to secure it so you prevent it from the reverse engineering, right? So um, the main point is like how you are going to prevent it from some like the hacker, or let's say from some bad guys that want to reverse engineer your APK file, or even the IPA file. So have you ever had some experience like protecting from the reverse engineering?
No, like that I don't have.
Okay.
But maybe we can have some kind of encryption. We encrypt our file uh, so that it would not be very easy to reverse engineering. Because now there are many good algorithms to encrypt, like RSA or something. So
like let's say what are do you know the default feature that comes with the Dart and the Flutter? Any default feature do you think, do you have ever used?
um, no,
No.
I
So there is a feature called the Dart code obfuscate. You can check the documentation for that one. It obfuscate the code of the Dart, right? It basically means they randomize the Dart code, and which doesn't prevent from the reverse engineering, but once the code is obfuscate, it's already random things that you get, and you need to reverse it back, right? And that takes the lot of the effort for the reverse engineer. So we can use that also. That is the built-in feature where you can use the Dart code to be obfuscated. And also like there are some packages that we can use. Have you ever used any of the security packages from have you ever tried any security packages?
no, I don't think so. Like I use any security package. Like so, I don't know security package like it's a security package or not. Like for storing some important information, we use Flutter secure storage.
Yeah,
But
so that's just for the storing the sensitive information where you can store the your user data securely, right?
Yeah.
But like when you are building the secure app, you need to find whether the app is like, let's say the phone has been jailbroken, or whether it has been like rooted in the Android, right? So you need to know whether that is already there in the Android, or whether somebody is trying to attach some debugger to the your app, like where they can reverse your application, right? Reverse engineering. So there are different things that once they get the APK they can do. So there are certain packages and the tools that we can use to like detect it, right? So it's basically can call the runtime. When the app is running, it can detect. So there are some of the tools and the packages that we can use to actually uh, to build the app, to maintain the security of the app. And basically the mobile app that like the banking application mostly used. So previously we built one crypto app where we had utilized that particular like the feature. So
Yeah.
like where the user where we need to because they were doing the pen test, right? So we had to include that in the application. So that's cool. And you got some pretty good ideas. And so next would be, I think it's going to be time here. So can you give me some of the packages that you use daily in your Flutter app?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, we have used like geolocation package and like shimmer package and Crashlytics and Firebase storage, Firebase core, and Share Plus. Uh, for carousel, we have used something I don't remember, but yeah, UUID, and
For
and cache
the
cache network image.
for
Uh,
the HTTP request, what package are you using?
so for now, HTTP requests, I don't think because we are using Firebase.
Oh, you are using Firebase.
Yeah, because it's a
Okay,
startup, so we're currently using Firebase. So for that, we didn't use anything like for that. So,
okay.
but I guess HTTP I have used or not, maybe Dio or something. Um,
Have you ever used the GraphQL?
no, not it.
Not just use the GraphQL. That's cool. Okay. So you are using the Firebase, right? So Firebase provides the stream of data. So for that, how you manage the stream? Are you using any packages to maintain the stream of the data from the Firebase?
Like maintaining the data from the
Like
Firebase,
you
like
are using the live DB, or what kind of the DB you are using with the Firebase?
like we're using like the Cloud Firestore.
Not Firestore.
Yeah.
So you are not using the live DB, right? Real time
No,
DB, right?
no.
Have you ever used the stream in the Flutter?
Yeah, a stream we have used.
Okay,
Uh,
cool. So, what kind of you do you use any third party packages to work with the stream, or you just use the stream built-in feature from the Flutter and Dart?
like you're asking about like some stream builder kind of thing, or
That, like, let's say you are continuously receiving the information from the server, right? So you have to maintain that the stream of data, right? So how you maintain it?
so yeah, you we have used stream builder because we use block state management. So we have used in some of the places for managing it. Like we have used stream builder also, and yeah, we have used stream builders like somewhere, but we don't directly like manage it from the Firebase. Like there is a state management layer, which like first the call the method which returns that stream from the Firebase, which get through the like that state management layer, and that it will pass to the UI. So yeah, stream builder we have used, feature builder also I have used. So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So, what do you think about the like the clean architecture? Have you ever used the clean architecture?
So I haven't used it, but I have like seen it like clean architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, have you do you know about the some of the principles like let's say
Yes.
drive principle or the kiss principle? Have you ever used this or applied in your project?
Yeah, yeah. So solid principles I know, like solid principles I know about it, like single responsibility principle, then open closed principle, let's call substitution principle, and interface segregation principle, and then dependency injection. Yeah. So basically, the first principle was about like single responsibility. Single responsibility principle is like every class or something has a single responsibility to do, because it should not have like multiple responsibilities. So the first principle like tells that like any class or something should change because of one reason, not of like any class or something should only have a single responsibility to do.
Okay, so you have
Yeah,
SOLID, like let's say
yeah,
dependency inversion, right? So,
yeah. Dependency.
do you have any idea how does the dependency inversion work? How we can utilize in the Flutter app?
Yeah. So dependency inversion is like providing. No, I guess. Okay. Uh, so it's like providing some suppose like let's say some class is needing some kind of dependency, which we don't want to like make some instance in it, so we provide that dependency from outside the class. We invert that dependency out of the class, so it is like this.
Okay, cool. So
Not.
yeah, so dependency inversion, we don't depend on the actual concrete class, right? So we
Yeah,
depend on the like the abstraction of that particular class. So
yeah,
like let's say you have a repository class, the dependency should not be the actual repository class, which is a concrete class, right? And it should depend on the abstraction. So abstraction means that the if you have a repository and you need to have some interface or let's say abstract class in the Flutter and the Dart, we basically have the abstract, right? So where only there you define the abstraction, like you define the method to just a method. You have the method method, and you don't have a method body, which is just an abstract function in the abstract class. So even you plug out and plug in the new dependency there, that's going to work as it is, so it's not going to break anything. So that's
yeah,
the main point of the dependency inversion principle that we use. And we mostly use in the Flutter in the separate layer. If you have a different kind of the layer, if you have let's say a different layer separated to like repository layer, use case layer, or if you have the domain layer, so we basically create the abstract class there. And that it depends on the abstraction. Like let's say repository has the abstract class, and then the concrete class, and then your use case has the concrete class, and then it also has the abstract class. So we pass in the depend on the abstraction. Like if you are passing as the in dependency injection through constructor, you depend on the abstract class, right? Not depend on the concrete class. Okay, that's cool. What about the do you have any idea about the composition or the composite design pattern that Flutter actually make use, right? Do you have any knowledge about the composite or composition?
no, no.
No. Okay,
Right.
that's cool. It's basically in the Flutter, like we have a like the parent and the child, right? So relationship.
Yeah.
So you can create the multiple. Even you can, if you have a small text, you can extract it to the separate widget, right? And then you have the multiple components, and then you can put into one single widget to make it a one tree. So composition is something like that. So it's like you have one tree and it has the many branches. So you can think of your widget as the many branches it has to build one solid, like let's say if you want to build a one, let's say a home page, you can have a multiple widget that is there, and when it comes together it can, you can build it a whole widget. So in this way you can apply the composition and make it cleaner, right? So you don't put everything in the one whole widget, but you can separate it to the different smaller part of the widget and apply the composition. And that's that way you can maintain a cleaner UI in the Flutter. Okay, that's cool. I think it's almost 1 hour here, and um, we covered a lot of the um,
Concepts.
concepts here. That's cool. Do you have any question or anything that you want to ask?
Yeah. So like I want to ask like uh, how I can be like more better at like it like also like do you think like I have to learn some native things also like to
Uh,
uh,
yeah. So getting better is just a practice, right? Um, it's based on the experience, how much you put effort and how much time you put effort in learning the things, right? Then not just by reading the blog or watching the video, but actually you have to implement that to get that experience. And it's not like you do once and you say that you know it, right?
yeah,
But it's a continuously doing the same thing. Once you do the same thing repeatedly, then you are confident on it, and you can say you know it, right? So you get better once you apply it again and again and again. You get better and better and better on that one, right? Once like you have to build so many app, or you have to work in so many feature, that once you work on one feature and once you read the documentation and once you implement it, um, after some time you will obviously forget that how you have implemented, and again you have to go and relearn it. So learning the same thing or doing the same thing repeatedly will make you better. So if you want to be better in the Flutter, you have to do the same thing or learn the same thing repeatedly, right? And you learn this, and then maybe you forgot after 1 month, or another 3 months you will completely forget at what you have done. So continuously learning about it, right, reading about it, it's going to improve you. And it takes time, not just in maybe 1 year or 2 year is you can't be as good, right? So it's the continuous improvement, so you have to improve it continuously. And and everybody, anybody, you can ask anybody, they can't say that they know everything inside, what is
yeah,
inside the Flutter, or what is inside the Dart. But main thing is that your basics needs to be clear, right? If you have a clear basic, and then you can certainly improve on the rest of the features and that Flutter is provided. And for the native part, I think if you just are starting, like if you just have 1 year, I think still not required. But certainly if you are going to be mid level of developer, or if you are going to be senior level, then certainly the native side of the things are required, because once you are senior or mid layer, um, the and then there is expectation that you can configure the things in the, even if you don't know how to build an app, but you should be at least comfortable with the how the Android works, how the folder is structured, and what are the feature that it provides, right, in the native side. You should be familiar with that one, even if you cannot write the or Kotlin or the Java code or the Swift code, but you need to be familiar, like how the things work, like how you are going to set up the manage the different kind of the flavors, what is the Gradle, what is the how the code compilation work on the Android side, how the code is code compilation works with the iOS side, and like if you face like how you are going to manage the release of this application, managing the permission, certificates, right? Um, so all these things that you expect, because if you are a senior, then some project maybe there where you are the senior and you don't have any lead that is guiding you, right? And
Yeah,
at that time you will be the one to configure all of those information,
yeah,
and
yeah,
at that time you need to have idea how these things works. So basically it's from the mid level to the senior level, then you need to at least have some of the
native thing also.
native things role. You should be able to build some certain small apps, right? Not a complex app, but you should build as a small apps, and understand how the things works behind the scene in all of those native side. So that will be helpful, or it is required actually in the senior in the senior level now, because sometimes you have to work alone in the project, or you have a junior and you are the senior, right? So the junior is going to come to you and ask the certain question, right, about that, if we cannot solve that issue. So that is the point for the native side.